My name is DJ Infantry, and I am legally blind. My passion for the outdoors has taken me to some amazing places, and I have done some incredible things, all with one mission in mind, to inspire you to get outdoors. Pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Welcome to Infantry Outdoors. That's right. Welcome to Friday Night Live. It's Infantry Outdoors Live, and I am the Infantry, your favorite disabled DJ, the blind guy, back at it again. Welcome to Friday Night Live here on Infantry Outdoors Live on YouTube and Facebook Live. So no matter what platform you're watching, we are taking over the World Wide Web, one platform at a time. Welcome to Friday night here. Hope you guys are having a great night wherever you are around the world. Moser boy, good to see you, brother. Let's see. Oh, Infantry Outdoors is responding. Oh, see, the producer's working. Hope you guys are having a good night. It's Friday night, and as you guys can tell, the topic implies we are going to be talking about fishing, how to catch those big ones. And yours truly caught that big one just the other day out of the pond, and I did not believe that something like that lived in there. But we're going to get into the show tonight. Hope you guys are ready for it. Tonight's broadcast, as always, is brought to us by our wonderful sponsors, Silver Connections Group. So if you guys are looking for a website, you're looking to have your social rankings boosted, you're looking for websites, all that good, anything social media related, Silver Connections Group has got you handled. And if you want to see their work, check out our website at infantryoutdoors.com. Also, our friends at Water Purification Products, giving you that pure water at your fingertips. They've got product, service, installation, licensed, bonded, and insured. If you're looking for the pure water and you want to know how to do it in your home, your RV, your office, wherever it might be, we got it, and we're going to hook you up. Go to waterpurificationproducts.com, and you can get all of the information there. Use promo code Infantry with both businesses, and you can unlock additional savings. So it pays to use the Infantry name out in the community. At least we try, folks. We really do try. So with that said, I hope you guys are having a good one. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, you know, you guys can always write to us. We got the new email, infantry@infantryoutdoors.com. And, well, pretty much hit us up for anything and everything Infantry Outdoors related. Don't forget to go to the website, check it out as well. And while you're in, make sure you hit that like button, share it out. Tonight, we have the prize for the evening. I promised I'd get them for you guys. Astronaut ice cream, freeze-dried ice cream. We have mint and we have vanilla. So the winner is going to be able to choose which one they want. All you got to do to win the prize tonight is share out the live stream, share it out. Let us know you shared it out. You'll be entered to win. We pull the drawing at the end of each live stream, and you'll be able to win yourself some astronaut ice cream. This stuff is really cool, man, and it's good for like ever. So that's what we're giving away tonight. All you got to do is share out the live stream, come in and win, have some fun. And let's get it done, because we are getting ready to kick it off. My guest tonight is no stranger to my stream and no stranger to my family and to a lot of you guys as well. Tonight, as you guys see, his title is Major Bass. So I'm the Infantry, and I've got the Major in the building with me. So we're going to be talking about fishing. And I don't know if y'all can see. Let me flip the screen, and hopefully my guest can see behind me a little bit better when it's in full screen that I got I'm live on location with him and he didn't know it type of thing. See where I am, guys? I want to see if anybody, before I bring on our guest, Mr. Major Bass, can tell me where I am tonight. There's that view. I'll try to move my big head out the way a little bit, but there's that view. And there's that view. Where's Infantry at with Major Bass tonight? Drop it in the comments below. I'm curious to see if anybody is going to get this one right. See, I'm sneaky. I'm live on location. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to be talking about fishing. And I thought, what a better way than the man that inspires me fishing and that I've learned a lot from and who's doing big things out there and who's actually out in the fishing world and can tell us a lot about fishing. Mr. Major Bass, a.k.a. as I know him, Captain Mikey Moser. Mr. Major Bass, how are you, sir?
What up, brother, man? It's been good. And it's good to see your face again, my friend.
Yeah, brother. You've been on the road a lot, working hard. And I followed you and the fam on social media and see all the beautiful places you get to go. And believe me, every step that I have watched you go since I met you on YouTube has inspired me to keep going, man. So keep it up. If you stop, I might have to stop.
Well, I hope you got a long time going anywhere for that. We're working hard out here and we're doing it fun. And it's all about him. So I'm working my tail off here to make a better future for that boy.
Amen, dude. I'm the same way. And I started this YouTube channel for something to give my boys in the future. So hopefully daddy can build it up and get us where we're going to go. And, I had a thought, Captain Mikey, sir, just throw it out there to the producer in the background of your business over there. Live streams. I might be able to accommodate your live streams for you, brother. So food for thought in the future. I'm working on a little something I'll talk to you on the phone about.
That's definitely something I need to talk about. I mean, I've done a lot of lives in the past, and it's been kind of put on hold with this new season, this new direction that we're going. But it's coming back. I definitely need to get back, and I got so many ins in the industry that I need to get out there, and that's what Major Bass is all about. To be honest, it's about bringing every into one, from professionals to Joe's industry insiders, everything. So major brands, major tanks, major pros. There's all sorts of good stuff going on out there that I got a ability to sit down and talk with you guys. So lives gotta come, and they're coming back. In fact, I'm hoping to come back soon. So I was really excited about coming on with you tonight, no matter what. But I'm also kind of sneak peeking here how you're doing this thing here with this restream. So because I'm definitely curious, because I've always done it a little different way, and I'd like to do something different.
Well, here, I'll give you a pro tip from me. What I did was I started with StreamYards. Okay. Now StreamYards allows you to do things, which is basically I use OBS for everything. I create everything in-house, all of my graphics, all of my effects, all of my commercials, bumpers, overlays. I use OBS to run that. And then I use StreamYards basically to virtual cam to that so that I can have a guest. If I don't have a guest, I really don't need the other software. However, using the internet-based stuff, you don't lag or have problems as much. So it's good to do that. Now, StreamYards, to go to multiple platforms, charges $25 a month. That's a lot of money. My streams ain't even generating 25 a month. So it didn't make sense to put out money that's not going to bring back in. Now, Restream will allow you to go to a whole bunch of platforms at the same time for free. But your overlays and things you have to pay for. So again, by using one and the other, I'm getting everything done. And I learned it because you were doing multiple streams, and I was trying to figure out how you did it, because I know you've been busy. I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but I figured out how to do it just using OBS by itself.
When I started, I looked into OBS, and that was one of the, things, but it was, I'm not a techie as much as I work in the industry. I mean, I everything I know, and it's really confusing for it's something you got to work on. I'm aware of that, but I found StreamYard it was brain dead. It was so easy. It was literally click here, point here, boom, it's done. Right. And it was easy for my guests to get on too.
The Restream format is the same, just so you know that. You have your chat over here on this side. You've got your double screens. I can make multiple screens. I can put you bigger, smaller, me bigger, smaller, take each other off. I can invite. It's the same, which is, I'm glad, because for being handicapped guys, especially visually handicapped, changing software sucks. And when I put this studio in and I put my softwares in, like my audio editing, I use Adobe Audition, and I have forever and a day. Even in the radio, that's all I used. I put it in here, and Adobe says, well, no, you can't register it no more. So I called Adobe. I'm like, what's going on? Well, it's so old that server is no longer in existence, and you can't activate the software. So after a lengthy phone call, they sent me a new version, which now I have to relearn. Not easy to do. Everything's different. But if I can learn this, I could teach this to you in 2 seconds. Honest to God. It's so simple.
I got faith in it then. If you can learn it, this country bumpkin can learn it too. So
yeah, brother. Hey, but listen, what we're going to go with that is, remember when in my radio days, I was doing live broadcasts from places.
Yeah.
this essentially would be no different to me than a live broadcast, except adding the video. Now,
Right.
I'm hoping to put a travel kit together, and maybe I got to figure out how to do it. Offer live broadcast services to folks like you know, certain people, and be able to do their live broadcasts without them. All you got to do is show up. Lights will be there, cameras will be there. You just sit down, put the headphones on, go to work.
Yeah,
That's
that'd be great. I mean, for me, it's got to be simple because, as you know, I'm on the road 7 months.
Live stream company.
I'm traveling with Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. I'm traveling with Circuit. I'm on location, and it's always very iffy, just like today, on what kind of service I'm going to have out here.
Right.
We bring our fifth wheel trailer with us everywhere we go. My wife, my son, and my mother-in-law. And you know, campground Wi-Fi is very unreliable. We've got all the MiFis and we've got all the tools we can buy, but it doesn't matter if the service isn't there. You can't do anything better with it. So
well, yeah. I understand that. I'm at a war with my place because I'm paying up to 25 megs and I'm only getting 10. So, and I'm able to live stream on 1.2 up. That's the maximum upload speed I get out of here.
Wow, that's really low, really low.
So if I can do that with this low of bandwidth, and I'm running mixer, and it's not a lot. I mean, I've got 2 cameras, a mixer, and just a general PC running all of this stuff. But still, if I can do it with that low, just dropping my settings, this is again where I'm telling you I might be able to come in clutch down the road. We'll talk. We'll talk. If not, I'll teach you how to do it because it's super easy. I'll be the
that sounds good because it's definitely something. It's definitely something on the agenda that needs to come back. That I got a lot of good, you know, a lot of good content that can get out there that needs to get out live. And you know, something I have fun with too. You know, being able to have some of the pros with me, being able to have some of the brands and the companies, and you know, be able to show you some things. And I got a big one coming up real soon. I'm going to drop the bomb on you guys right now. You're the first ones to hear this. So obviously, every year there's a thing called iCast, and I know you're ahead of the iCast here. The thing with iCast, it's the greatest show in the planet when it comes to the fishing industry. Every brand, every pro, every celebrity, everything is not open to the public. Now, you got to be in the industry to get in there, or a retailer, or a media, or a professional fisherman, or whatever it is, or working with them to be able to get in there. So this year at iCast, and I'm the first time I do it. Usually everybody's got to wait for the videos that everyone puts out to come out to see what these new products are going to be. And I'm going to go live every day from the floor of iCast for you guys. I'm literally going to walk around, go up to every vendor, and have them come talk to us with the newest, latest, and greatest right there from iCast, so you get to see it before anybody else live on Major Bass. That's my plan.
That's awesome. And if I could set up the live stream for you, bro, I'm there because you know I'm coming. I am coming. I'm coming. I have to. All I got to do basically just send my paperwork. And for those that don't know, it's like $100 if they do approve you to go. It's $100 just to go to this. But it is like he said, Disney World for all of us fishermen. I mean, everything: brands, boats, lures, lines, rods, reels, saltwater, freshwater, experimental. I cried last year because I saw all of you guys there, like all of you, everybody in the circle. And I'm looking at my wife and she's like, "You're going to go next year. I promise you're going to go next year." For us, like you, I got a wife and kids, and I don't, that's why I messaged you. I wanted to meet up with you to kind of just give me the layout and set me on my way, because I don't want to take the wife and kids and all of that because it's work, but at the same time, they have to take me places. So we figured they're going to go have fun in Orlando and I'm going to go do business. You know, there's no problem with that. So that's the game plan for this year.
It's an incredible show. Like, I mean, I'll be blown away by like the amount that's there. It's overload, constant overload all day long. And I say it every week. I guess it's my favorite. After about a day and a half, my tone big time because there's just so much going on, and I can't wait to get out of there almost. But literally, it's not even a retail show. You can't even buy anything. Sometimes at the last minute, on the last day when they're closed down, they can sell stuff because they don't want to have to ship it back or whatnot. But it's not a retail show. It's about setting up clients and setting up stores with new products and so on and so forth. Whatever. But the coolest thing is these big brands, and I mean the biggest brands you can imagine, Rapala, Daiwa, Shimano, everything like that, their newest, latest, and greatest products that aren't even released yet are getting released at ICAST. That's what it's all about. So you're going to see stuff on our live that won't even be available for a year, but it's coming because of that. So it's going to be pretty awesome. It always is awesome. Not to mention
shows, best in show, best new this, best new that. And they get awards for their new stuff, guys. This is, I mean, I don't know anything else like it in the industry, to be honest with you, that can compare to ICAST. And and the fact that it's exclusive makes it even worse. Like, it's one of them things where I don't know if you've seen a South Park episode where everything was you can't go just to make people go. So you can't go to this, you can't go because your guys can't go. You're not in the media. The general public can't go. So for me, it's been years of working up to, I know I can get in with my radio credentials, but I don't want to go as that. I'm trying to represent my brand here and getting my brand to the level, which Michael probably agree with me here, ICAST is going to look at on my application, see where I'm at, how big I am, and then determine if I can even go. So
that's exactly it. Honestly, this will be my 7th ICAST. It would have been 8, but last year it didn't happen because of the pandemic, so it was just a virtual thing. But this is my 7th ICAST that I've been to, and this is the first ICAST where I'm attending as me. Other companies, so companies that I was working with, fall in tooths and do whatever I can and work their booths so I can go to ICAST, so they would pay my way in there or allow me to go in. But this year is the first year as Major Bass. My badge is going to say Major Bass on there, not anybody else. So this is going to be pretty awesome. We're really excited for that.
Congrats, dude. That's where I'm working to get myself and, get myself in that door. And
if not, you can go.
And guys, by the way, we are going to give you fishing tips, but this is what's going on and stuff like that. And it's very exciting. And one of the things for me, Mike, that I want to approach to companies that, like you and I have mentioned with Roundabout Boats and certain things, that I kind of look at things like the tackle box companies in a different way than most people do, because I look at it as, if I'm handicapped in a wheelchair and I can get tackle sent to my house every day, I ain't got to cart my butt to Walmart, or I ain't got to go here or there. So I think that's a great idea in that aspect. Certain brands of boxes may not be good, but the concept is, just like Roundabout we talked about, that would be an awesome platform for a person in a wheelchair. You can't flip it.
Yeah.
It would be great. Put them in the middle, let them go fish, drive the trolling motor. So for ICAST, for me, I look at it as not only an opportunity for me to work with the brand, but for the brand to see something they might not even know. Hey,
that's
this this will help a person in a wheelchair. This will help. It helped a blind guy fish in a tournament. How much better can a brand be? Our optics are so good, a blind guy can use them. Dude, that's a selling point by itself.
Heck yeah. No, honestly, and that's what it's all about. It's about making those connections. It's about marketing yourself, and it's about how other brands and other companies learning about your brand and how they can use you and how you can help them too. So it all works hand in hand. And that's exactly what I do for a living. So, working with the anglers, working with the brand, getting them exposure, getting them marketability that they didn't have before. So, or at least helping them with it.
Yeah, and you've opened eyes to quite a few companies. I mean, look at the website, Bass 365. I'm posting on that sucker weekly, and it's a great platform because there's no muss, no fuss. If you post it, great, you post it. Somebody's going to see it, and a lot of folks are going to like it. So, yeah, I think it's been a great thing from the start. So you've been, I mean, you really, like when you say you got your hand in everything, you do. But tonight,
I just try to stay busy. I'm one of those guys where my head is constantly spinning and trying to think of how to better everything. But at the same time, like I said, everything works hand in hand. So, the better I can do for somebody else and the better they look, well, it looks for my platform and essentially. So, we're working with everyone in general. And that's exactly what Major Bass is. Like I said, I started Major Bass. You guys have known that have followed me over the past 6 years or so. I've gone from a lot of different brands that I started myself, whether it was Sawgrass Bass or just Captain Mikey Moser or Sawgrass Fishing Charters. And I've worked with other companies and brands throughout my years or whatever. But the thing I saw a huge gray area in this industry once I started working with the pros themselves. You know, I have a lot of very large name pros that I work with, and I help create their videos and I help do their social media and stuff like that. But they all rely heavily on sponsors and sponsorships that help them pay for their tournament fees, that help them pay for their boats and their gear and their everything else, because it's very expensive to be.
That's very true.
Especially at the high fees for it's going to be $3,000+ or whatever, plus the expenses. I can tell you, it cost me an average of $1,200 a tournament just traveling to the tournaments and lodging and everything else like that. So it really is a big part is their sponsorship. But the problem is social media is changing this entire industry like crazy. So there's a lot of YouTubers and there's a lot of social media influencers, which I was one, and still am one out there, that really caught the eye of the sponsors, and they're taking it away from the pros. So what's going on there is you've got a big separation. You got pros and pro content, and nobody has better knowledge than the pros that put $100,000 on the line every time. I promise you, nobody knows more about fishing than a guy at the top level of fishing out there. But then you got all these brands and sponsors that you get, help them a lot. They're leaning more towards helping out these smaller influencers that 15% discount to, or something like that, thousands of dollars on these guys. And the next generation growing up is growing up in this YouTube world. So they go to YouTube to search information, and they're getting their information from guys like me rather than getting the information from the top end of guys like them. So I've created Major Bass to help bring them into the same world that the YouTubers are in, and put all those brands in there so everybody can see content from every angle of fishing right in one area, and that's called Major Bass, and that's where I chose the name. It just sounds pretty cool too, though.
And think about it, it fits Major Bass and the infantry. Yep.
It is. It absolutely is. And I we were talking about big fish today and catching big fish and how to catch big fish. And well, I mean, one of the best terms I can think of when I catch a big fish, I always scream, "It's a tank." So now we come tie major into tanks and infantry into tanks. It just suits.
Perfect.
Major tank.
I tell you what, the day we go fishing, we're gonna have to really sit down and tag that video title: Infantry, Major Bass, Tanks, Bucket Tanks. What else can we put in?
Oh man, it's all about major ammunition, major tanks, major buckets. Exactly. You did get it, man. It's major, dude. It's going on.
Well, this time of year, you're not far. You're in Tennessee, and for those of you guys that don't know what I did in the background, because I don't know if it popped up in the comments or not, but I've got the lake in the background. He's up there at Chickamauga, and I'm down here in Florida. Now, would you say? My first question to you would be, for a big bass, first of all, would you throw a different start-off bait there versus here? Or would you throw the same start-off bait?
I mean, I've learned so much from my years, my guiding and everything like that. No matter where you are in this country, catching big bass all boils down to your confidence. And that's it. Fish what you're most confident in. And it doesn't matter where you are or whatever, you learn that I'm confident in this lure, or I'm confident in this technique or whatever. You fish it and you find the spot that fishes that confidence lure best, rather than finding a lure that fishes every different spot. So if you're running around a lake, be it Chickamauga, where I am right now or whatnot, and trying to find the best area and then find the best technique to use in that area, you're wasting a lot of time out there or whatever. When I'm confident in throwing a jackhammer. I catch a lot of fish on jackhammers, and a lot of guys too out there. Okay. So find an area that works best for a jackhammer. Find an area that has submerged vegetation. Find an area that's a little shallower than it is deeper or whatnot. Maybe some really well in vegetation. So in needs like hydrilla, stuff like that. you can find how you're going to be able to fish your confidence bait a lot better. And chances are that's where the big ones are going to be anyway. So to me, that's the biggest tip I can say. It doesn't matter where you are, throw what you're confident in first. And if that doesn't work, then you can go ahead and try some other techniques that you might have learned or whatnot. But more often than not, you're going to do better on your confidence bait than you are on something you're not confident in at all.
That's a great answer. Now, my buddy Danny that I used to tournament fish with, I love the guy. I mean, but when he used to come to the tournament, Mike, he came with a Bass Pro Shop full of soft plastics, and that's really all he threw. And and I told him there's nothing wrong with that at all. And here I am with like every bait in Bass Pro Shops in the bass boat, and I'm like, dude, if you need something, grab it. That's what it's here for. You know, don't be limited to what's that. Oh, no, I'm good. And man, he'd rip them in, but he would stay at it. And no matter where we moved to, he'd either go from a stick bait or maybe he'd go to a Texas rig, but it was all soft plastics, and he just stayed what he knew, which was awesome. And he caught fish.
That's just it. Honestly, to me, that's the best technique. I mean, with that being said, I did just catch my biggest bass ever on a technique I never used because I was filming for that technique. But there are flukes that happen. That's just the way it is. It's just the way it worked out that day out there. But in general, when I'm fishing my confidence baits, I'm going to do better at that. And if I can't catch anything on my confidence baits, then it's a real easy way to eliminate that and go, okay, I need to work with something else out here. But honestly, I mean, the real bigs, they're there. They're always there. But there's a reason why they got so big and lived so long, because they're smart. They learned a lot, and they've seen a lot over those years. And I guarantee you, when they were littles, they got caught.
Yeah, a whole lot.
They got stuck with something, and they learned from that. They do a little different, or you need to really hone your presentation that much better. And that's what's going to happen with a confidence bait. You know, rather than getting out there and throwing something and not really knowing how good of a technique you have with it, how good your actual ability to work that bait properly is. When you're confident in a lure, you have such a good feel and touch for that bait that you're going to work it better than something else. And that's just the way it is. Say, like, for example, I know that might sound confusing, but say your confidence bait is a topwater spook, like a walk the dog style. You catch so many fish on it. I'll give you a great example, actually, even better than that. I got a good friend down in Florida, Rick Sutherland Outdoors. He's a fun guy to catch. I fish with this guy. Every time I fish with him, I swear to God, all he throws is a chug bug, an old school popper chug bug, storm chug bug, rattling chug bug, and he out fishes me 5 out of 6 with the stink chug bug, and I'll throw everything on the freaking, and he out fishes me with that. And the reason why is because he can work that bait so well, because he's got so much confidence in it that it doesn't matter what condition you are, or where you are, or what kind of other conditions are around us via weeds or cover or structure or anything like that. He can work that bait better than anything else in his tackle box, and he does so well with that. So that's a great, to me, that's a great example of why a confidence bait is going to catch you more, is because you actually work that better than anything else in there. If you're not a jerkbait fisherman, but someone told you you need to be throwing a jerkbait right now, that's the best thing to be throwing out there, you don't have confidence in it. Your technique's probably not going to be A+ on that. You're probably not going to catch as many, and you're definitely not going to catch the big. That's for sure, because the big has seen it, and they've seen, you got to give them that A+ game every time. Otherwise, they're not going to be fooled that easy.
All right. Well, I do want to remind you guys in the live stream, hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Nights. We're talking with Captain Mikey Moser, a.k.a. Major Bass. If you don't know him, well, there he is, the legend himself. He's across social media. He's worked in the field of social media, but tonight we are picking the captain's brain inside of Captain's Corner over there to find the biggins, because, well, if you follow him on social media, the man knows how to fish. All right. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not up blowing smoke up his butt. The man can fish. All right. The proof is in the pudding. So tonight we are talking about how to catch the bigs and where to look and where to find them. And like he said, using confidence baits is key. But I do want to remind you to hit that thumbs up button, share out the live stream, guys. Tonight we're giving away astronaut ice creams, freeze-dried ice creams. So share out the live. Let us know that you shared it out. Your chance to win the prize tonight. I've got some other stuff coming for future live streams from some of our partners. We're going to have a water filtration system coming to give away to you guys. A bunch of different stuff. I got some lures coming from another one. Whatever we can get our hands on, we're getting it for you guys for Friday nights. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns for myself or for the captain, you want to know how to catch bigs, you got a tackle question, drop it in the comments below. We are on YouTube and Facebook Live tonight, so if you are watching, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are having a great time. Make sure you share out the live stream. Let us know, and at the end of the live stream, we'll pick our winner, as we always do, for the giveaway. So, yeah, we've covered confidence base. Now, here's a good question for you, Cap Mikey. Have you ever had a day where you go out to a spot, whether you know it or you don't know it, and you just literally throw everything in the tackle box with no result? Have you had a day like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Best, no matter who you are or whatever. And your favorite lake that you always catch them on, it'll just happen. That's fishing. That's part of it. And there are, and it's not that there's no rhyme or reason, because there is always a reason why they're not biting that day. It's not that they went somewhere else. They're probably still in that same exact spot where you would expect them to be, but the conditions have changed. Be it there's a high pressure system or a low pressure system, or there's something that's making them uncomfortable for a reason why they're not biting right now. And it really doesn't matter what you throw. There might be some things you can throw to maybe better your odds of getting them to do, but it happens where they're just not going to eat today, no matter what it is. And it's usually based on weather patterns and weather and conditions. You had a cold front run through or whatever it is. High pressure systems suck generally for the most part. The high pressure really messes. Fish have a lateral line, and a lot of people don't believe me that air pressure affects fish, but it does 100%. They have what's called a lateral line and a swim bladder that are controlled by pressure, and the changes in pressure out there really affect them. It's like right before a storm comes, that's usually a low front as the storm pushes through. The moment before that, it's like they know it's going to happen, and they'll feed up like crazy. But once that front hits, they're gone. It's not they're gone. They're just not going to bite. They're uncomfortable. They're uncontrolled, and they're going to go tuck in tight somewhere and just sit there. You might be able to get them if you hit them square on the head with something. But for the most part, those days usually happen because of some kind of a weather condition or some kind of conditional change, for sure. But it happens. Absolutely happens.
No,
it happens more often than I want it to happen. That's for sure.
To clarify, if you guys don't know, if you're ever watching a YouTube video and the fisherman says prefrontal, postfrontal, frontal conditions, this is what we're referring to is, and this can apply to rain, heat and temperature drops, anything to do with the weather. So if there's any type of front that moves in, right before the front would be the prefrontal conditions. During the front would be obviously the frontal conditions, and the postfrontal conditions. Now, like you said, they feed up in the beginning to get through the front. What happens on the post front to the fish?
Well, that's actually really interesting. A front doesn't just disappear. A front gets pushed out by another front. So a storm, especially major storms like hurricanes and stuff like that, that's a low front. That's a cold front or whatever. That's a low pressure system that comes in. Well, that gets pushed out by a high pressure system. So what happens post front is there's a complete pressure change that happens from low pressure to high pressure or vice versa. Sometimes a high pressure system that stalls out those beautiful sunny days for like 6 weeks. Or a storm is the low pressure pushing out the high pressure. So the pressure changes after a front or the post front is really what affects most things. So the day after, the direct day after, and sometimes 2 or 3 days after a front change like that is not generally great fishing. That's post front. That's tough fishing.
You're better off on the pre-front or during the front than you are on the backside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But like I said, it doesn't mean they're not there. They're still there. The fish don't go anywhere. They're just going to have to adjust. They're uncomfortable. They need to adjust the conditions. So generally that means they're going to tuck tight to something. They're going to be, whether it's offshore cover down deep or They're going to be up in the shallows, right up against the vegetation, or right up against a dock piling or something like that. And they will bite. They just aren't comfortable enough to chase things. So you got to hit them right on the head. Things change.
That's really good to know. So and for you guys that didn't know any of that, that's why I wanted him to cover that, because a lot of YouTube videos and a lot of YouTubers, even, you know, that aren't pro fishermen, that just fish all the time, will say, you know, hey, you know, this is prefrontal conditions we're going into, or post-frontal. And a lot of folks don't know what that really means, but it does affect the fish. And I've always been the guy that says, living in South Florida, and I say this even with hunting, whatever you feel, the fish feels. So, example, we lived in Mike and I were down in South Florida. It's 105 in the shade, and you're on a bass boat, and your thought in your brain, yes, you're fishing, is, man, I need to get the hell out of this heat. The fish are saying the same thing.
Absolutely.
They're not out and about. They're hiding anywhere. If there's a tree and the tree is leaning and it's making shadow on the water, there's fish there. I guarantee you there's fish there, especially if there's no other shade in the area. There'll be fish there. But we've had days where I had a video where I took Darren's Northern Life into, remember Sawgrass Wreck? I took him out of there. The water was 91.1 was the water temp. I looked him in the face and I'm like, dude, I love you. I appreciate you came all the way down from Canada to fish with me, but we ain't catching nothing today. He puts his hand in the water. He goes, my bath water is colder than this. I said, welcome to Florida. These are the days you go to the salt water and go catch them. But temperature affects them. If you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there.
There's a lot. It does. Yeah, absolutely, it does. I don't care. I've traveled the country and I work with guys from all over the country. Florida different. It just is no matter what. Dude, Florida bass are the pickiest creatures on the planet. They really are, and their mood will change not just from day to day. It changes from hours. Absolutely, Florida bass are tough creatures, and different seasons are going to make it even tougher. Summertime in Florida sucks, dude. It sucks. It sucks for us, but it sucks for them. And fishing generally in those dog days of summer, I'm talking like August, September, you know, maybe even late July or whatever, it's tough in Florida because of that heat. But like I said, they're there. They're still there. You're just going to have to do something a little different to get them to really commit.
You got to make a whole new word for tough for South Florida in August and fishing, and you might as well just stay home unless you're that dedicated. And I mean really that dedicated.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we got to make, in our world, we got to make videos still, no matter what.
Exactly.
So we got to make it happen for everybody. Those are the days where I make better tutorials than I do actual fishing videos. It's just all there is to it.
I'm a person where I like showing days where I don't get anything, because that's the reality of it, boys and girls. It's not. There's no YouTuber out here that goes out 7 days a week, fishes 7 days a week, and catches 7 days a week. Everybody has an off day. Everybody has a bad day. Everybody has a frontal day, a post-frontal day. They don't want to come off the beds. There's always something to it. So if you think your favorite YouTuber is slaying them day in and day out, that's not the case. And that's why I like to show you guys, when I go out and I blank, or the tournaments we just completely sucked in, well, that's the reality of tournament fishing, is you're going to suck. You can't win them all, guys. I like them. I like those videos. I learn more.
Yeah, I like them. I don't mind putting them out every once in a while. I hate it when I have to put out like 4 in a row, though. That's pretty crappy.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go over to the producer. She's got a question for you there, Cap Mikey.
Moser Boy wants to know, is it a myth about fish biting better during a full moon?
Yes and no.
Did you come through? Did you hear?
Honestly, the moon controls the tides, you know, no matter what. So the moon is the magnetism that it controls on the tides, and really the magnetism that it controls on the planet. If you understand how tides work with the, you know, however close the moon is to that part of the world, it kind of, there's magnetic pull between the Earth and the moon, and that will change water depths. Much more so in salt water, so it affects it a lot more in salt water than it does in fresh water.
Right.
But again, what it is the moon phases is a conditional change. Is what it is. So yes, it does affect, but I don't believe in freshwater it affects as much as saltwater, or as much as you think when it is. The full moon is not necessarily fishing. Remember what I said about pressure changes to me anyway. This I'm sure there's plenty of people that are arguing on this, but just like pressure changes, the storm before the storm is when they're going to go crazy. So they're going to eat up because they know that pressure is about to change. They know that storm's coming, so they feed up like crazy. It's the same with the moon. The full moon's coming. It's coming slowly. So those 3 days before and possibly the 3 days after are when, but mostly the 3 days before, to me, that's when they're going to start feeding up, because full moon is going to change the pressure. It's going to change the magnetic pull and everything like that. So the day of the full moon is not generally the best. There are exceptions, and I don't know the science behind it or the reasons why, but here in Florida especially, the moon really has a lot, and the phase of the moon has a lot to do with when they spawn out there. So I don't know if they're just part werewolf. I catch some bass in Florida that sure seem like they're part werewolf, but that full moon, especially when the other conditions are bang, you get a full moon, that it definitely controls the spawn more around phase. So I don't really know the science behind it. So yes and no. Definitely saltwater, it definitely has a lot more effect on it because it controls major tide changes. Freshwater, not so much, but I can see how it would, because it is a conditional change.
Yeah, and don't ever get caught out in a supermoon in a boat in the ocean or in the intercoastal, because it sucks. Dude, we went water skiing on the supermoon. We'd never been out for a supermoon, so we did like we always did on the weekends: barbecue, take the boat, pull the inner tube, pull everybody around. Well, the bay, we were finishing up for the day, so we're all just floating in the bay talking. All right, we're gonna get out of here, this, that, and the other. Within 15-20 minutes, we go to leave the bay. I put the boat in gear, and we're literally, the motor is stuck in a hole of rock that didn't used to be there. And the water level dropped to, I mean, I had to get out, trim my motor. This is a big saltwater boat, mind you guys, and pull the boat as far as I could to put the motor down. And we started out at waist deep. It was water skiable 20-30 minutes prior to this. So just be careful on supermoon. We got a question here now. Haha, Mr. Bill Watts, but he does have a question that says, I'm just starting out in fishing. What would be a good bait to start with?
Honestly, if you're talking about artificials, and probably it's the same one I gave my son, and it's the same one I gave my nephew, and things like that. Anybody I'm teaching for the first time to learn is going to be a Senko. It's just so simple and easy to use. It's almost foolproof, and it catches fish. It always catches fish, big and small. I've got some of my biggest bass ever on a weightless 5-inch Senko. So just get yourself a pack of Senkos. Try to keep them a natural color, something like a green pumpkin or what, that kind of fits in every kind of water condition. Yourself a pack of 4/0 extra wide gap hooks, no matter where they come from, and Texas rig it without any weights. Throw that up into any kind of cover and just let that thing sink. Just let it shimmies on the way down, and bass go nuts over it. Or or you can wacky rig it. There's a lot of ways you can fish it, and it's very easy, very, very easy. You don't have to do a lot of action. You don't have to give work the bait at all. Throw it out there, let it sink. It does its own thing as it shimmies down. So definitely a Senko would be the #1 bait I recommend to start with.
My first was a Texas rig. A Texas rig worm was the first thing I learned, because if you rig it right, especially when you're teaching kids to do it, they won't snag up all the time. And that's the big thing, because snags causes discouragement. Like my kids, I don't know what they do sometimes, but they'll knot up a fishing pole, and you look and go, how did you do this? I mean, we're just bobber fishing, but the act of going back to going forward, somehow, I don't even know. But with kids, keeping it simple is key. But the Texas rig was what I learned, just because, one, it teaches you feel, because you're slow dragging it across the bottom, and you're going to feel it bump, and you're going to feel it come over the log and drop, and you're going to all of these different things, which I think is great because it teaches you what's not a fish. Because the first thing little kids want to do is, oh, I got a bite. Oh, I got a bite. I got another bite. They didn't have anything. They're just bumping into things and they don't know. Yeah. So I think the Texas rig, once they're at the level where they can understand the slow drag, and if you feel something, you just give it a little, you don't, oh, I'm stuck. You just pull it easy. And then you'll know when the fish picks it up and you see your line swimming away. Hey, I got a fish. And you're good.
Bill says he's smiling right now.
Oh, Bill.
And there's a lot of things you can fish on a Texas rig. There's a lot of different things you can put on a Texas rig. So there's a lot of things that's a great one. And 100%, I guarantee 100%, my very first bass ever came on a Texas rig worm. There's no doubt about it. I can vaguely remember it. I was pretty young, but I know for sure all I fished was a Texas rig curly tail worm for the first probably 6 years of my fishing life.
Hey, you got to go with the go-to, man. At the end,
I don't throw them now. I can't tell you the last time I threw a Texas. I'll throw speed worms every once in a while, but I rarely ever throw a worm. Maybe I should go back to the basics sometimes.
Yeah, tried and true always works. Now, that big one I caught in the thumbnail that I finally got, I didn't know lived in our pond. Listen, I had been fishing this pond when we first moved here. It was catfish heaven. I told the folks in YouTube world, hey guys, give me 100 likes. I'll come back and I will catch, clean, and cook one of these catfish. No lie. Since then, we have hit 100 likes. We have not caught one catfish. There ain't been no catfishing. It's been bluegills. It's been specks. So I'm like,
and wild shiners.
And those giant wild shiners that you showed, I got them in my pond. So
candy.
I think
it's candy.
Nothing in here. The other day, I go out to test out a new bait. I got the revolver, and I wanted to see how it ran and just what it did. Next thing you know, I got 6-7 pound bass on the end of the line that I didn't even know lived in the pond. It was awesome.
Yeah,
came up, pushed it, exploded on it. I'm like, man, this is great.
And then
that.
Then I threw it the next day and got it stuck in a tree. So I got to go out there and climb the tree and try to get it back.
Yeah. I guarantee you there was a little Spanish moss on that tree. That's just the Velcro of the South. I promise you, it grabs everything.
Yeah,
it's bad up here.
Yeah, but yeah, he knows he's only down the road a piece. So yeah, Spanish moss. It's great for making fires, though. You know, the old man's beard. But other than that, everything gets stuck in it.
Wizard Boy wants to know how to catch a 13-pound to beat Mikey's 12.9.
Well, dude, if you can figure that out in this short a period of time, man, props to you, because it took me 25 years to catch that bass. So, you know, but it's a cool story. You know, we're talking about catching bigs, and I did just catch a 12. It was 12.8, not 12.9, but
who's counting?
I caught it in a very unique way that I did not ever expect my next personal best would come off of. But it's a good point that we can tell people out there of how, you know, how to read the water and read what the bass we're talking about. We're talking about conditions and how sometimes they won't bite, but they're still there and everything. I went out this day and I work for, I make videos for Lucky Craft a lot. So Lucky Craft Lure will send me a bunch of specific videos from, and there was a day where they sent me a bunch of the pointer jerk baits, but this is pointer 78. It's a small 3-inch jerk bait, and a couple of the bigger new 3-hook pointers that they have. But I was set out to make a topwater video for them. And I had this area on a lake that I fish all the time, and I catch lots of big fish out of there. You know, lots of the 8s, 9s, and close to 10s. But I know bigger fish have been in there. 14-pounders have been caught out of there before several times. But I couldn't crack that 10-pound mark for 25 years. I had a 10.2 when I was 17 years old. And I've caught so many very close to it, and I've lost so many fish that were definitely bigger than that. But I did 25 years it took me to get that. So I'm out there trying to film a topwater video. And I have this area of coontail that's submerged. And I know there's tons of fish. I'm throwing what's called Sammy, a Lucky Sammy. And it's about a pretty robust topwater, walk the dog kind of bait. And I probably had 7 or 8 huge blow-ups on it. Like the fish were but they weren't hitting it. Not one of them did I feel. Not one of them had a hook or anything. They were just smashing right next to it. They were knocking it out of the water, but they weren't committing or anything like that. And generally when that happens, you know, there's something wrong. You got their interest, really got their interest, but you're not quite there yet. And it's usually the size or the color, you know, so you want to switch it up. So I switched down to, I knew it probably wasn't the color because I know what the forage is, and I was really throwing that color out there. So I switched down the size to a gunfish. A gunfish 95 is about the same length, but it's a much slender profile. It's got a little more finesse of a walk to it and a little bit of pop to it. Same thing. 7 or 8 fish blew up on it, but not one of them grabbed it. Well, what the heck? Why can't I catch a fish today? I'm making the worst topwater fishing video ever out here. I'm doing a whole video on how to not catch fish, apparently. I was getting really frustrated. And then I happened to notice a bunch of schoolies, and they were, you know, popping all over me, smaller bass. But I saw the bait that they were chasing that was flying out of the water, and it was just tiny little baits. So I said, this is what's going on. It's got to be the size. I don't have a smaller topwater on me because this was my plan, was the video of Sammy versus Gunfish, yada, yada, or whatever. So I didn't bring one with me. But, hey, I got these pointer 78s, these little jerk baits that they sent me. They're only 3 inches long. What the heck? I got nothing but weeds everywhere I look out here. But I got the perfect rod. My topwater rod it's my Daiwa setup. I only have 10-pound test line on there. You know, it's perfect for this right now. It's a perfect rod. So I threw the very first cast with that little 3-inch pointer, and I said it. I got it on video. I said it on video. I said, you know, you seem to be chasing some bait right now. So, and my first cast, boom, I nailed like a 10-inch bass, like a little tiny little dink. And I look at it, I sit in my head, I'm going, here we go, small bait, small bass. This is not going to be a good day for filming. But I said it on video. I said, but I do know bigger bass, if that's what they're honing in, they like bigger baits, but they'll chase a smaller bait if that's what they're honing in on. The very next cast, I'm not kidding you, I'm saying that as I'm jerking this thing, and I just see this shadow come up right behind it, swipe underneath it. And I'm in my little roundabout. It's literally only 10 feet in front of me in super clear water. I see that shadow come up. I stopped because I was awestruck. And then I just see this white mouth, this big, just inhale it. I set the hook, and that thing took off screaming. Thankfully, it never jumped and never did anything and thankfully, I usually have my drag lock down, but I didn't have my drag lock down this time for some reason. I don't know why. So it was able to peel the drag out. And when the fish started coming towards the boat, if it's like, I've never been so excited. Just, oh my God, 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 oh my God. Like, please let me catch this fish. I knew right away as soon as I saw it, this is my personal best. This is the fish I've been fishing for 25 years. And it was like it was meant to be, because when she came up, she just opened her mouth up and just sat there. She didn't even jump, just like, yeah, here, it's your turn, Captain. This is you. You got me. You know, and I pulled it in 12 pounds, 8 ounces on a 3-inch jerkbait on 10-pound test line. I couldn't believe it. In the middle of coontail and lily pads. How it didn't wrap me up, how I didn't lose that fish, I have no idea, but it was just meant to be.
Meant to be. That's what it was. It was meant to be.
It was my turn. It absolutely was. But the truth is, I caught that fish because I read the conditions. I read what they were doing. Because I was trying the things that I was confident in, that I was already set out, and it wasn't working. But I saw, you know, hey, they're looking at small bait. Small ones are cheap. So it had to be something. And lo and behold, never in my life would I have guessed my next personal best would come on a jerkbait, because I never fish jerkbaits. It's just not my confidence thing. I figured it would have been a frog or a buzzbait or somewhere. I generally catch a lot of big ones all the time. But yeah, 3-inch jerkbait, man. That was it. So read the conditions. The fish sometimes will tell you what you need to throw.
Let me tell you, a jerkbait has come in clutch for me in many. I was even reminded of it the other day. My first tournament year with my buddy Aaron. One of the tournaments we were on was just
He's
it was on
by the way.
Okeechobee. Oh, hey Aaron, what's up, buddy? You're gonna love this story. We were just talking about it the other day. How we were on Okeechobee, and Okeechobee was like my nemesis, and it still is. It's a tough place to fish if you don't know where to go. And I'm in a bass tracker, not a nitro, so I've got 10 gallons of gas versus 30, 40 that the other guys have. So I'm limited in range. And Aaron and I, we made the best of it with no game plan at all. It was hit the lake. Which way you want to go today? Left or right? Let's go left. Okay. Well, the jerk bait came in clutch one day and put fish in the box like you would. And it's very simple with the jerk bait, white or black. You don't need no other colors. Either white and shiny or black and dull, depending on your water conditions. And that's pretty much the white one. I believe it was the Rapala /Wrap is the one I buy. I'm pretty sure that's the one. That thing there, man, is just, it's amazing. You just twitch, let it sit. Reel a little bit, twitch, let it sit. And yeah, it did the job, especially if they're suspending jerk baits, because if you're in a certain body of water, you can control, depending on the size of your diver, whether or not you'll hit the bottom, whether or not you'll stay in the strike zone. If you're looking at your graph and your graph says they're suspended between this depth, you want to get your jerk bait to stay. When you go twitch, you want it to sit there and not float up, not go down. At least with me, that's what I like, because I can get it right in front of their nose and just let it sit there. And when you make that next jerk, it's over. It's over.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's times where nothing can beat a jerk bait whatsoever. It just tends to. My personal fishing style is more of a power style. I really like fishing in the slop, in the mess, in the junk, and I like power fishing. Fishing frogs, fishing spinnerbaits, fishing buzzbaits, fishing. If I'm going to do top water, I'm going to do something like a big, loud, walk the dog kind of thing. I'm not big on the finesse stuff. I do it. I can do it. And to me, a jerkbait's a little more of a finesse fishing. But there are definitely times when a jerkbait will, hands down, outfish everything else. And there's just no doubt about it. It happens. I always got some. I'll never go out with a couple without a couple jerkbaits. Just and always have a 3-inch jerk with me. That's for sure.
Moser Boy shared the link to your video. He said that was the best video ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no fooling or faking in that one. That was all raw emotion, man. In fact, my wife, she just walked in the room and then walked back out for a second. I called her as soon as I caught that, right after it, and I'm bawling like she thought something was wrong. She thought I was hurt. She really did. She was just, oh my God, what happened? I'm like, I got her. I can't believe it. I caught her. And it just, and then after that, a couple of my other closest, fishing buddies from around the area, and even they said it's just like, oh my God, I can't believe that when you caught, you hurt yourself. We thought you cut your leg off or something. No, man, I was just literally so emotional that 25 years.
Yeah. Well, that one I caught here in the pond.
I guarantee I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I think you froze up. Oh, I was gonna say, you know what's gonna happen now that I got it? It took me 25 years to catch it. I'm gonna catch another one bigger than that, like in the next week or so. It's probably just gonna happen. And 25 years in here, now you get another one in a week. It's just, no doubt. If I ever get a chance to fish, I just never get to fish myself anymore.
I'm stoked that I caught over there, because that actually, my personal best before this was only like 5.5 pounds. So this one in the pond, now we didn't have a scale, but it's
clearly bigger.
Clearly 6 to 7 pounds.
Maybe bigger.
Maybe bigger. I mean, my fist and my thumb fit inside of its mouth with no problem.
Yeah.
Now, who knows where I'm going to get. Now, the one that we had in Okeechobee, that's one where my partner Aaron dropped to his knees in tears, because I can't see into the water. So bed fishing, Captain Mikey and I always joke and talk about, for me, it's literally blind fishing during bed season because I can't see them. But this fish on this giant jerk or crankbait in the canal, it brought Aaron to his knees, because it got right to the boat as Aaron went to grab it. It head shook, and that was it. That was the end of this monster bass. Yeah. And it sucks that I didn't get to see it. He was more pissed than I was. He's like, oh my God, if you would have seen it. He's like, the mouth was like this. I'm like, I can't be there with you, bro. I missed the moment.
Aaron says it was 8+.
But it was pretty neat. I've had a lot of fun fishing. Fishing has been, when everybody when everybody growing up went to football practice and they went basketball practice and all the things I wasn't allowed to do because of my disability, I went fishing. I went to the canals on the side of the road on Sterling Road and down on Sheridan Street and the ponds back down behind Hollywood Hills High School. And that's what I did. And I learned, I wish I would have known. I honestly could have taken it to that pro level, Mikey, because when I was that young, I was that passionate. But it was one of those things that back then I would have thought they would have said, no, you can't do it. You're blind. Sorry, the insurance won't cover you, or whatever the ball of excuses that I get in life is. That's why I never did it or pursued it, because, you know, even now you have to be able to drive a bass boat. I'm fine to drive a bass boat, but I have to have somebody with me. That's where the issue may be. I don't know, but I would still love to give it a try. You never know. 41 years old, I might be the oldest rookie on the tour.
Well, you gotta do is like me. I think I've never been more passionate about anything in my life, and I've literally been in the fishing my entire life. You know, but when I was younger, at 17 years old and stuff, I was hitting the tournament trails and I was doing well enough to the point where I had to make a decision on, do I keep pursuing this expensive career? You don't win, especially at that age. Back then, I don't want to age myself, but I'm old. And you know, back then when I was 18 years old, things were a lot different than they are today out there. That's for sure. So you know, I remember my old man telling me, you know, because it was going to be him that's going to have to pay for these things. Let's face it, he's going to have to start paying for me to travel all around the country to start fishing these tournaments. And if I win, I win, and I can pay him back or whatever. But my dad was a realist more than anything. And I remember him saying, how many professional bass fishermen are there in the world? And I said, I don't know, a couple hundred. He says, come on, dude. There's millions of people out here. You really think you get a couple hundred of them? Why don't you go get a real job? And I mean, I became right from there because it was just easier, and I still got to share my passion and everything else or whatnot. But to become a pro and get to that actual level, there is, we were talking about this earlier, there's such a different commitment to the business that needs to be done rather than just being able to catch fish. I got lots of friends that are absolute hammers, that I guarantee can go toe to toe with any one of these pros out there and probably outfish them on certain lakes, no matter what. But they're not at that level because they didn't have the business sense of what it takes to work with sponsors, to be able to market properly, to be able to do things. You know, I talk to people all the time, you know, working with these pros. What was the biggest advantage that you probably had getting there? They all went to school and they got marketing degrees. You know, if you want to be a professional bass fisherman, get a marketing degree, because half of your business is all about marketing. It really is. And to get that level. So not all just about being able to fish. You got to be able to have an appearance and be able to present in a certain way that pleases to everybody out there. Have a character, have a thing. You know, having your disability that you had actually could, you know, I see that as an advantage almost, because no one else has that. So as the half of the business, which is actually business, you got a big market right there, a whole marketability about you that people are instantly going to root for you and cheer for you out there because, hey, what the heck, man, you're fighting against the odds out there. Yep. So, you know, plus, you know, being able to catch some fish is going to help. But really today, it's a different world no matter what. And that's why I do what I do, because it has very little to do with how well you fish or how many tournaments you can actually win. There's only a handful of guys that win all the tournaments all the time or whatever. The rest of them are still marketable and they're still doing really well because they're working the business end of it more so than actually winning. And sponsors, where the money's coming from, care so much about how many tournaments you win or how many or how close you get. They don't care if you get a whole bunch of fourth place finishes. That means nothing to them. It's how much you can get their products in front of people, how much people have their eyes on you. That's a much more important thing. So, you know, there's still hope, man. Don't give up. You want that, you can do it.
You know me, man. I never give up. I adapt, improvise, and overcome, and that's how we get where we got to get. I'll get there one day. You never know. I might try what's the lower series now? I don't even know. They changed them all. It used to be like the coasters, the BFLs, where anybody can enter and be a co-angler. I might try that once.
Yeah. They still have them. There's a whole new league out there, really, called the National Professional Fishing League. Really, almost anybody, if you can pay the fees, you can fish that, and that's a kind of a top level pro circuit style. But you can start off in the ABA, EFL, the Toyota Series is that's League Fishing MLF Big 5 Series. That's more of a 3-day tournament style, where you can win some pretty good money. But you can fish most of those as co-anglers as well. That's what a lot of people don't know, and that's a great way to start because you can learn so much from the back of a boat. You really from the back of a pro's boat. Whether you don't have as much control over what you're going to do, you got to fish where they're going to take you or whatever to the best ability. But you can pick up a lot from paying attention to them. Another great tip I got for a lot of people that talk about they want to go pro or they want to do that one day. There's a lot, like in Major League, especially and old FW circuits, where be a marshal on a boat for a time. You can get out there. You're going to be a marshal. You're sitting on the pros boat, and you study them. Look what they're doing. You're going to be talking with them all day. I'll tell you honestly, since I started working with these pros and filming them, exponentially grown my ability to catch bigger fish and more fish because I've been following these guys and learning and editing their videos and learning from them as they go. Like I learned so much more that I thought I knew a lot. I really did, and I probably did for what I was doing. But I've learned so many things where I'm like, wow, I was wrong on that. I was completely wrong on that one. You know what I mean? But literally taking what I've learned by working with these guys, what I've learned seeing what they do and how they do it every day for big money out there. I've taken those tips and put them into my own. And I am a much better fisherman today than I was yesterday. And that's why I want to share all their information on a platform like Major Bass, so people can really learn from them the way I've been able to learn from them, not just what I can teach you. And if you really want to watch my video, on there to do what I from them. So it's a platform like that, I think, is something that this industry really needs, to be honest.
Absolutely, because there's so much of it. And here's a question I want to ask you, and this could be for the guys like us that fish all the time, or the guys that are just getting into fishing that may not know this answer. Would you say a fisherman needs Bass Pro Shop's entire inventory to go out and fish?
It doesn't hurt. Here's what I get this a lot, honestly. I do get a lot of products from a lot of companies and stuff. And if you look in my garage, and my wife will be the first one to tell you, I got way too many rods and reels and too many combos out there. And why do you, and I hear all the time, why do you have so many? Why do you have, to me, it's like golf. You know what I mean? In your golf bag, when you're going golfing, you got 8 or 9 different clubs in there, and each one serves a different purpose. Different rods. So can you store a Bass Pro Shops? Heck no. No, you don't. But it will help you to have a good variety of different rods, reels, and lures and techniques, and be able to hone all those techniques so you're good and you have confidence in every one of those techniques. You're going to be a much better fisherman. There's just no doubt about it. You're going to have a better day on the water. If you really have One Rod Moisture Boys on here, we've talked about that. He sends me questions all the time about new rods and new reels, and why he should have a long rod. That was the one we were going to talk about soon on his channel, I think. He asked me why should I buy a 7'6" rod? What's the difference of why is it better than my 7-foot rod out there? And it really just depends on the technique. As a longer rod is going to give you more advantage over, obviously it'll load up more. You can make longer casts, you can cover more water, but it gives you a little more power to be able to horse a fish out of heavy cover, to be able to set a hook from a long distance if you had a long cast, things like that. A longer rod's going to work better than a shorter rod no matter what. So depends on the type of lures and techniques you're going to use. A longer rod's going to work better out there. But having a variety, if you only had 3 7-foot medium heavy rods, there's a lot of techniques that you're not going to be doing the best way possible. You're not going to be working those properly. A medium heavy rod, fast action rod doesn't have a lot of give to it. It's just got a real quick tip to it. So it's not real good for like treble hook baits, or those jerk baits or something like that, because it's too stiff and it snaps back too fast. It's going to pull those hooks out of their mouth all the time. Same reason why you would have, fluorocarbon is going to be better to fish than monofilament in certain areas, and monofilament is going to be better to fish than braid in certain areas and stuff. And that's why we have all these varieties, because they all serve different purposes. So it's going to help you out. You don't need the whole store, no.
But I do got to say this though. I know for a fact,
if right,
if you go and you take yourself a spinning rod and reel, and that's what you're comfortable with. And the only reason I say a spinning rod and reel is because when you get in, if you never use a bait caster and you don't know how to set it, it can give backlash and give you issues. So the easiest thing to tell you people is I can fish every bait I have on a spinning outfit. Every single bait. I can also finish them all on a bait caster, with the exception of lightweight baits that aren't heavy enough to throw.
Yeah.
If you can fish it.
Actually, you just cursed your revolver on a bait caster. So
yeah, well, that's because I threw it in a tree. I mean, that was just
no. You bird nested and you cursed it the night before, and then you went back and threw it, and then got stuck in a tree.
Yeah, I should have left.
Now we're hearing the whole story.
Yeah. The wife should put the whole story out there for the internet. But like to me, anything over 7 foot, like 7'6", that's like really long. I would consider that to be like a flipping stick. That's what I would have it for. A heavy action flipping stick, so that I can fling it, back in the bush where you like to fish, and down here in South Florida, you got to get it back in the bush because that's where the fish are hiding. So and then once you get him in there, you gotta hoist him and another 5 pounds of stuff on top of him to get him out. And that's why a long, heavy rod, for me, that's what I would use it for. That's my personal
opinion. Absolutely. I can give you like a perfect example of that exact situation and those numbers actually too. A good friend of mine that I work with a lot, Brent Chapman, is killing it out there on the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour right now. He's consistently topping up, and he's got 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 tournaments. I think he was 10th or 11th or 14th in the first tournament. He's killing it, and he's really just using his one bait that he's really confident in. But he changed something this year that he was doing. He's a Cast King pro, and he uses Cast King equipment. He's fishing a chatterbait, a bladed jig. He loves that bladed jig, and he's become a master at it. He's really affected the technique of it. But the Cast King makes a 7'3" bladed jig rod. And that's what he was always using, and that's what he taught me to use, and it actually helped me a lot better catch more fish with a bladed jig out there. But he since this year switched to a 7'6" rod, which is actually their swim bait rod in their Speed Demon Pro lineup. But it's a 7'6" rod and a faster gear ratio reel on there that he was using. But that 7'6" rod, he's able to cover more water with it, make longer casts. Right. But he's also able, by holding it up high, he's able to fish that jackhammer or that bladed jig even shallower than before, because he's got that long rod and he's holding it up higher. He can throw that in that 6 inches of water and burn it across the top, make it the shorter rod. He doesn't have that extra ability of powering through that that distance or whatnot. Plus, he's fishing shallower. He's fishing in more cover and more areas with that. He's got that extra strength in that length to be able to pull that fish out. So, literally, he had a good year last year. He's having phenomenal this year because he went to a longer rod, literally, and that's it. That is the key to his success so far this year.
Right. Now, well, for me, growing up, longer rods, like, here's an easy way to think of it, guys. Like Mike said, the longer rod enables you to get the bait out further. So think about your average bait casting rod or spin casting outfit. Now go a few aisles over and take the average saltwater spinning or casting outfit, and you'll notice that the saltwater version is a whole lot longer. Why is that? Because the ocean is that much bigger. You got to get your bait way out in the ocean. Now, yes, you can use stuff flipping Dachshund, but for the average stuff in the ocean, you're using big rods. And that's to get the bait way out and to be able to control it. Like you said, if you want to do shallow, you can put it up. If you want to bring it down and let it run, or you can point it down for refishing. It all depends on how you want to do it. But at the end of the day, the longer the rod, the further you can chuck that bait.
Yeah.
for sure, hands down. But for
and it
me,
works the exact opposite as well too. Having a shorter rod, like a 6'8" rod, is going to work better in certain conditions, like say close range stuff. Like I use my square bills and stuff like that. I use a shorter rod, 7 foot or even shorter, usually a 6'8" or 6'10", because I'm in close cover. I'm throwing it into tight targets, stuff like that, and it's just easier. And like I like to say to a lot of people, I'm also a short ass, so it's hard for me to use a long rod for baits that I've got to point the rod down and work closer to the wasp people are anyway. So it's hard for me if I got to do, like say a jerkbait property. You want to point that rod down and give it those twitches. And if I got a 7'6" rod, it's hitting the water. I got to do it off to the side, and it's not giving me that proper technique. It's not working right. So, the rod length, power, rod action is really important to have a variety of them for different techniques whatsoever. Jerk baits, top water, stuff that you really got to work. You don't want a rod with really long, a really long handle, because it's getting into your body when you're working it. You want something with a real short handle or short butt, so it can actually work alongside of your arm rather than, hitting into your chest or your armpit or something like that. Same way, a frog rod, I'll have a different rod for a frog rod. I want something that's really strong, that's going to be able to pull that, like a heavy rod, so I can fish the heavy stuff. If I get 20 pounds of weed on it, I need to be able to pull it out. But you need to have enough enough tip on it to be able to work that frog too. So it may be like a heavy powered, moderate action rod would be a little bit better for that, kind of thing. So there's a reason. Yeah, I may have a lot of rods and reels, but there's a reason for each one of them. And typically, if I go out, even if on my roundabout or anywhere, I bring on average, 6 different outfits with me. Usually, I'm kind of upset. I want to have 8, but if I very rarely will go out with less than 6, honestly.
That's me, 6-8 rods on average, and then the wife's got 2, the kids have got 2 each. So there's like 12, 14 rods in my truck on any given Sunday, and then tackle warehouse full of stuff in my truck. And I know all about. See, but my thing with multiple rods, yes, you have them for different techniques. And like you said, with the jerkbait, I actually use, I think it's either a 6'8" or 6'10" Abu Garcia Black Max, because I'm not the tallest guy in the world either. And even on a boat, when you're jerking the bait, or you're jerking the end of that rod, you don't want to smack the tip on your boat. You don't want to hit the water. So you got to find that rod length that enables you to do the sideways motion. And again, here too, with the butt, you don't want it to hit you every time you pull it, the jerk the rod. So you got to find that right rod for that technique, or learn to do it with a bigger. I mean, some people do it with 7 foot and they're little midget people. Great. You can learn with anything. You're not saying you can't do it, but you could do it so much better if you accommodate the rod to the lure. And for me, the multiple rod thing is, blind people, we don't like to retie. I don't like to tie knots. I don't like to thread knots. So I have a rod with every bait I'm gonna tie on, so I don't have to tie nothing on when I get out there.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the biggest tip is, we're talking about bass catching. How can you catch bigger bass than what you're already catching or whatever? This is the biggest tip I can give you, and it's the biggest thing that I learned from the pros. I'm working with the pros. Accuracy and execution. That's how you do it. Really, really practice. Work on your accuracy, and then work on your execution. And that's what we're talking about, having the right rod and the right reel to execute properly, to be able to work those lures the best way possible. Not just, if you're confident in a certain bait, learn how to work it best, to make it, give it the best action it can. And the better you can do at that, the better chances you are of catching the big one that is there with all those other ones. It just ain't getting fooled that easily. The best example I can give on that, honestly, is in a show called Proverse, and hopefully that's coming back again. I was fortunate enough to be able to help him film a couple of those shows. I brought him down to we were down in South Florida and on an Everglades canal, and it was a tremendous time. I hooked him up with a good friend of mine, Captain Jim. Jim is a guide down in Florida, one of the best fishermen I know. Every time I fish with Jim, he outfishes me. He's phenomenal. We went and filmed this Pro versus Joe series with Captain Jim on a canal that Jim guides on every day. He's on that canal system literally every time he's out there guiding. That's one of his favorite places to go because it's loaded with fish. You're going to catch lots of fish. Jim is a phenomenal fisherman, and nobody knows that system better than he does, honestly, out there. But Brett Chapman outfished Jim probably 5-1 out there, using the same techniques. But from the back of the boat, Brent's casts were so every time he cast where it needed to be, and his execution on a frog or a swim jig or whatever they were throwing at that time was better than Jim's, and that's why he outfished him. Canal that Jim knows better than anybody else, using the same lures that he's using, but Jim would maybe miss by an inch when Brent would hit it right on the bullseye every time. So accuracy and execution is by far the best thing. So take whatever technique you're most confident in. Use my tip for that. That's my favorite lure to use. That's my confidence lure. Learn it the best you can to be able to execute it properly, and then go out and find the areas that work best for that technique. And you will definitely catch bigger fish than you have been catching. I promise you that.
That's for sure. Hey, and look, I'm one of them people where, I'll stay with a bait and go around the entire pond, and then maybe switch to the next bait and go around the entire pond. This way, I can kind of say, all right, well, they're not on the Texas rig, and I've done the entire pond, so they're not down there, or they don't want it. So the next one I'm going to pick would be something about mid-level, and then I'd work my way to the top. Unless it's a hot day and the sun's going down in Florida, then top water all day. That's just a gift. Sun comes down,
exactly. But the thing is, you may have talked about you worked 3 or 4 or 5 different techniques or different lures through the different levels, but those lures are the lures that you fish every time. Those are your confidence baits. You don't just throw any random crankbait. That's the bait you choose every time. That's I promise. I know it. I know what you're doing. That's the fluke that you use every time. That's the color that you use every time, because that's your confidence. So you're still fishing your confidence, and you're fishing your constant bait, and you're finding the area that fish is bait best. That's what you want, whether you knew it or not.
And it's my own way of again, I can't see down into the water unless it's really clear, which most of Florida water is not. So for me, it's my own way of depth gauging. Either I start with top water and go around and work my way down, or I start down, work my way up. Usually in Florida, it's really hot, so I start at the bottom and work my way up, depending on the time of day. But again, you have that magical time at sunup and sundown where game on. Like literally, it's game on.
And
if you see
exactly
bugs,
what it was for PB too.
Right, and that's exactly how I caught that fish. It was right at the crack of dawn.
No, it was dusk.
Or dusk rather, and the bugs were out. That's the key thing in Florida. You see the bugs out and they're around the water, go fish because you're gonna catch them. But he came up, he hammered that thing, and the rest is history. But that's kind of like I said, how I figure my own.
There's no use this formula. Yeah, that's it. There's no exact formula. There's no exact, hey, I promise you do this and you're going to catch a bigger fish. You got to learn. That's part of fishing. Always be willing to learn. Always be willing to learn. The day you think you learned it all is the day you need to hang up your rod and just stop fishing, because you're never going to stop learning. You never stop learning out there. But fish are definitely pattern creatures no matter what. So different conditions, they're going to set up differently. Different times of year, they're going to set up differently. And that's going to be pretty typical throughout every year. In springtime, they're going to fish differently than they're going to fish in summer. Winter's going to fish different than it's going to fish fall. It's just the way it is. But when you learn those things, hey, when you learn the conditions, so today it's bright and sunny. I know it's going to be bright and sunny. That probably means it's a bit of a high pressure system out there. But sunny days, they're going to be predictable. One thing I'll never forget, Bill Dance taught me this through to when I was a kid. They don't have eyelids. They don't have eyelids. So they can't close they have to find shade. If it's sunny, they're going to find somewhere where the shade is because they don't have eyelids. They can't close their eyes. So they're going to go under lily pads. They're going to go under docks, anywhere there's shade when it's sunny. Typically, that's where you're going to look. I've also learned that bass are an edge species. So they're not typically, you got a big area, they're going to find the defined edges. They're going to be on the edges. They're not typically going to be spread out throughout the whole area. Sure, there's going to be some random ones here and there, but they're probably traveling from one edge to another if you caught them back in there. They're going to be left along the edges of things, arches of weeds, of structure, of things like that. So, you learned the conditions and where the bass probably are going to be because of those conditions. It's going to help you out a little bit more when you're just trying to find fish. And that's when you go to YouTube, man. Watch YouTube my videos. I don't care. Watch DJ's videos. Watch Andy Howell's videos. Watch YouTube videos, because I promise you, someone is out there putting out great content that's gonna you're gonna learn a lot from. I learned most everything I know about doing what I do because of YouTube videos. Honestly, I learned how to edit because of YouTube videos. I learned how to market because of YouTube videos. I learned how to change a fuse box on my landing gear on my RV because I watched a YouTube video. So, I mean, there's a YouTube video out there, I promise you, for it. So if you got a question about, why I'm not catching a fish or how I can catch more fish in these certain, YouTube search the conditions, and I bet you'll find something.
That's a good idea. Or go out and fish it yourself and see what happens. See, did you?
Well, that's the best way.
That in
honestly, I saw a guy post up like this back in the day. We didn't have these searches. We didn't have YouTube, and we didn't have things when I was learning. My father really wasn't a great fisherman. There was not a lot to learn from him out there. He probably learned most of what he knew from me, to be honest. But I had to learn the hard way. I had to learn by literally going out and trying this and trying that, and figuring these conditions out myself out there. Today it gets a little easier, it seems, because hey, there's a video on that. There's so many more tools that these young anglers have to be able to get better out there. Mm-hmm. But honestly, the best way to learn anything in life is to make a mistake. It's just simple. If you make the same mistake over and over again, you're not learning. But if you learn from your mistakes, or you change it up and you do it differently, that's the way to learn.
I agree 100%. That is for sure. Because, why do we fall? So we can pick ourselves up, try again. And that's the way you got to do it. Like I always say, adapt, improvise, and overcome. If the conditions aren't right for you, then you got to adapt to it, or adapt to change it to make it to adapt to you. But get out there and fish. And like he says, the technology that's available nowadays is amazing. If you don't have a fish finder, go to Google Maps. Hit the little satellite view of your fishing area or your lake or your pond and zoom that sucker in, because, man, you can see rock piles. I can see under the water through Google Maps, but I can't use my own eyeballs and do it. It's amazing. But you'll find rocks. You'll find points. You'll find brush piles. People have solved murder mysteries through Google Maps, looking at a picture, and found cars and lakes and things like that. It's amazing what you have at your disposal. And then not to mention all the platforms like Bass 365 that you can go on and go, hey, guys, I'm dealing with this. Any questions? Or like you said, YouTube. One of the biggest things, Mike, I used to love to do was we would live stream from the pre-fish the day before the tournament. So this way we fish the morning. We have our notes. Afternoon, we're going to have lunch. We'd pull up the live stream and go, hey, guys, we're live from Lake Okeechobee or wherever we were fishing from. And here's what's going on. Today we've thrown this and this color, this and this color. This is working. This is not working. What do you guys suggest? And the viewers were amazing. They come back, dude, you have this on the boat? Try throwing this. If you have it in this color or that color. And you'd have a few people there. Oh, I was at Okeechobee last week, dude. Throw this. And the technology is amazing to help you guys. You just got to be able to look for it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. The tools are out there if you want to use them, but you want to catch fish, put a line in the water. That's really it. If you're
Yeah,
not fishing,
exactly.
you're not going to catch any fish. So, altogether. But there are some really cool tools if you don't have the latest and greatest. You don't have a big bass boat. You don't have the expensive live scope and electronics and things like that. There's still a lot of tools. Almost every one of us is going to have a smartphone. You can get Navionics on your phone that has maps on almost every freaking lake out there, including where we live in the middle of nowhere. I'm surrounded by hundreds of these small private lakes. Most of them are actually mapped somehow on Navionics, and I actually did early on in my YouTube career. I did a whole video on that, finding a lake on Google Maps. Take it, go out to the lake, find the Navionics app, and there it is. And I had the whole lake, and I went around on my little electronics, seeing where the points were, seeing where the underwater were, things like caught myself a bunch of fish. So there's a lot of tools out there that can help you out. But like you said, ultimately, it's all boils down to the only way you're going to catch more fish is by itself.
And don't think I'm one that preaches this all the time on this channel, and I may be right, I may be wrong, but if you want to go fish, don't think that you need a $400 fishing rod to go do it. Don't think you need the $60 swim bait you saw in the YouTube video to go do it. That's not at all what I preach on this channel. If you want to go fish, look here, we go get a stick out the backyard, some string and a hook with a worm on the end, and I guarantee you we'll catch a fish. I guarantee you. So to get yourself out there, don't be overwhelmed when you go into tackle shop or you go into Walmart and you see millions and millions of things and they're so expensive. You don't need all of that to get started. Get you a rod and a reel with some line and go fish. Bobber fish, worms, love it. They catch all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that's what you want to do, just get out there, and you can easily go to Walmart. You can pick up something real cheap if you don't have anything. It doesn't have to be a lot if that's what you want. But as you want to hone your craft, as you want to get better, and you want to catch bigger fish, and you want to catch more fish, and you want to better, you need to put the time in, and you need to study. And having better gear is going to do better. Again, using the same golf analogy or whatever, you can go out and buy a cheap set of golf clubs for whatever it is, and it'll get you done. You can play a round of golf with a cheap set of golf clubs. But if you have a better putter or if you have a better driver, you're going to drive farther than you will. So same way when it comes to now. The world of fishing is obscure. It really is, to be honest. There's a lot of stuff that you can pay for, and that is not any better than something you can buy a little bit less. But learn that. But for the most part, better gear or whatnot is going to help you out better. But don't start there. You got to start from the bottom like anybody else. Learn how to fish. Learn what you're looking for. Learn the conditions. Learn the techniques. Better them, and just hone yourself from there and work out. The guy that goes out to start, I'm going to start, and I want to have the best rod and the best reel, and I'm going to spend $300 on a reel and $400 on a rod and this and that. You aren't going to catch any more fish than the guy that's first starting out that went and bought that, Shakespeare ugly stick combo from Walmart for $25.
Exactly. Exactly. And like what we're saying too is, if you're just starting out, when you buy your first rod and reel set and then you set off on this adventure, let's say you start bobber fishing and you see the guy next to you while you're bobber fishing, he's hooking them and he's using a Texas rig. Okay, well, guess what you just did? You now learned the technique you want to learn. So now you're going to go get your weights and you're going to go get your offset worm hooks and you're going to go get your worms. Which kind of worm do you want to throw? Do you want to throw a Senko? Do you want to throw a curly tail? Do you want to throw a monster? Do you want to throw, there's a ton of them. This again is where now you're going to start honing your craft, and then you'll start get to the point to where, like me and Mike, hey, I'm a short guy. I need a 6'8", 6'10" for a jerkbait, but then I need a 7'6" to get that swim bait way out there. Meanwhile, my everyday rod is about a 7 foot, this and that. We know this because I started with a Shakespeare rod and I used it. I still have one. The kids use them. There's nothing wrong with them, but you have it's like you're not going to put your 15-year-old kid with a learner's permit behind the wheel of a Ferrari or Lamborghini. That's just the kind of the point. We have to work up to that point.
It's not a better driver. Yeah. That's
right. And you will
you
do
can
that.
put him on the wheel of anything. It's not going to make him a better driver. He's got to learn how to drive first.
Right. Exactly. And at the end of the day, guys, like I tell you, just get out there and fish. That's the biggest thing. To see you guys post things and you go, hey, infantry, I heard what you said. Look, I caught a fish. My buddy down south takes his daughter fishing now, and I get pictures of all the intercoastal fish, the snappers, and all the good stuff she's catching. So it warms my heart that somebody, did it and realized I don't have to spend $1 billion to try it just because that's what's here, Yeah.
And the biggest thing to me is, no matter what level you are, you have a passion, and the best thing you can do with that passion is share it. Share that passion. I don't understand. I'll never understand the people that, I got to blur out the background in my picture so no one can see where this and that. If somebody wants to know how to catch more fish, I'm good. You're not going to steal my fish. You're not going to make my day any worse the next day out there because of that or whatever. It's just the way it is or whatever. Instead, I'd rather inspire the next person by passing my passion, through my passion, by teaching them, by helping them learn my knowledge or whatnot. And that's why I make videos, but I don't care who you are. I've made so many friends in this industry just because they came up and asked me a question, and I'm more than willing to tell whatever knowledge I can to help you out become a better fisherman out there. There's plenty of room for all of us on every single lake. Where I'm never, unless we're in a tournament, that's a different story. Because I'm not going to help you beat me in a tournament. I won't know what to do. But in general, we're talking fish, and what I mean, help your anglers out, help your fellow. We're all one big family, and that's what we're here for. So
that's what fishing's all about.
That's why you're here. Share your passion, share it, buddy. Make this for the next generation.
I got to ask you, now that you're out on the road and you're doing the tours, and I mean, I already know the answer, but I want to ask for the viewers and the folks out there at home. What is it like when folks come up to you now? Because I know people know who you are in this world and in this community that we're in. How does it make you feel when they come up, hey, Captain Mike, you've been watching you forever, and that kind of thing? The celebrity side of it. How do you take that in? How has that been going for you?
It still makes me giddy every time, man. I mean, it does happen more than it has happened in past. The longer I do that, but I'll tell you honestly, that's why I do it. I mean, that's why I do what I do, is because I love interacting with people. So when someone comes, especially now when I'm on these tournaments, working with these pros, and someone next to Kevin Van Dam, and they come up to me and say, "Oh man, I love your videos." That's pretty darn cool, man. That feels pretty awesome. And I mean, if anybody says they don't like that, they're lying. I'm sorry, you're lying. That'll never get old. That'll never get old. That makes me feel really good. So, if you see me, recognize me anywhere, heck yeah, stop and say hi, man. I'd love that. I'll take your picture. I'll sign an autograph. I'd love that. You kidding me? I turn around to my wife as soon as it happens, like, "Hey, that kid just came up to me. Eh? He knew who I was." It still happens today.
The one time that it happened to you at the carnival, you came up the exact same way.
Yeah, I did.
Dave, he knew me.
We were at a carnival of all places too, and this kid, he's getting ready to get on the ride. He goes, stops in stride to the ride and goes, "Wait, are you Infantry Outdoors?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." "I know it was you. I watch you all the time." And he got on the ride and everything. And I went, you got off the ride, I shook his hand and took a picture with him and everything. And when she came back with the kids, it was like, dude, this kid came over, asked to take a picture the whole night. I felt like a celebrity, It was really cool. Yeah. And then, like you say, that's why
it is part of why we do it. And it's I didn't start this to do this for the fame or for to get a big ego or anything. I still don't have a big ego, and I hope I never do or whatever, because it's not about that. But it sure feels good when somebody recognizes you for your the hard work you put into it, because there's a lot of work that goes into this. It's my life. I literally put my life in a video every time I go out there. So it feels good. It really does feel good. And honestly, I I still remember every single person that's ever come up to me. I'll never forget them. You know what? And most we become friends. If you tell me you got an Instagram, I'll follow you right away, and hopefully communicate and we remain friends. Some of my best friends were because we met because of my videos and stuff like that today. So it's a great feeling. I'll share the first one. You just shared your first one. The first time, it wasn't the first time. The first time, I don't believe they actually knew who I was. Some kids. The first one was at an FLW tournament in Leesburg, Florida, and I was working the Carrot Sticks booth. And I think they thought I was one of the fishermen or something, because these two twin guys came. They were twins, young guys, and they came up with a jersey and said, "Hey, man, can you sign our jersey?" I was blown away. I'm like, absolutely. I just started making videos like 6 months before that. I'm like, oh, of course, man. I signed my autograph, and I could see their look on their face, like, wait, what does that say?
Oops.
Still got really excited. But the first time, I was actually fishing a little canal in South Florida, filming a video about peacocks and fishing for peacocks out there. And all of a sudden, this 12-year-old kid come running down from the road, and his little sister is behind him. He's like, "Oh my God, it is you! I knew it was you! I knew it was you!" And like, I hadn't been doing this very long. I'm like, "Oh, he wanted my autograph." I gave him a sticker that I had, and I was still rolling, so I was still filming the whole time too. I'm like, wow, it was such a cool feeling that this kid knew. And it turns out his mom was driving. They were driving past. And he saw me fishing. He said, "Stop, that's Captain Mikey." And he made her turn around and drive back. And when she came, her mom came out, and she came walking out. She's like, I have no idea. He says he watches your videos all the time, but we were driving by at 60 miles an hour, and he saw you and made me turn around. Or whatever. So, like, really, I think 200 subscribers. I'll never forget that. And I remember going home to my wife. I'm like, "You won't believe what just happened. You won't believe this kid." And I put him in the video and everything. That was pretty cool, man. But
mine's not as great as, I mean, for those of you guys that have watching that don't know about my past before YouTube, I've been a radio and international DJ for many years. So my celebrity status has always been before YouTube, and then YouTube kind of just went with the rest of it. But for me, my celebrity status came from being on a Caribbean reggae, Jamaican island radio station. I never really had anybody run up and go, "Oh my God, you're DJ Infantry." Usually it went, "Wait, you're infantry? Holy crap, you're white." That was the response. That was a normal, everyday thing, even up to like elected officials in the White House, state representatives, because on the radio, you can't do this. You can't put a face to it. So if I'm sitting there and I'm working and I'm playing nothing but the best tunes on the radio for everybody, and I'm having a good time, you're never going to know 1 minute or not what color I am. You're just going to assume what you hear on the radio. Well, it was always a blast to me and my wife for people like their jaw to hit the floor. But you're white. How do you play such great music? I'm like, well, music don't know color. That's why. But it was always great. Even like when you meet the first time like you meet big name celebrities, the lady who wrote the Electric Slide, Marcia Griffiths, I've met her several occasions. Her first thing was, "My boy, you're white." So it was always a funnier thing. But now with YouTube, getting the visual to the audio has really, like I said, the kid coming up in the carnival. We've had a couple other instances out and about. People have honked at our truck because they know the truck and they know the channel. So it's always fun. It's always has been fun, especially to meet new people and for them just to be shocked to, "Oh wow, you're the one I've been listening to forever. You're the wow." Now I finally, when I went to Jamaica and I went to Grand Bahama, it was, if I could bring back that footage, I have it on cassette tapes. Like that's how old it is. The footage of these people, Cap Mikey, that when they meet me, they know me from the radio. And I'm now in your restaurant. And I'm eating. I had this sweet old little Jamaican woman ask me if I was crazy or not because I ordered off the menu just like a Jamaican and traditional food, mind you. I was like, no, ma'am, I just love it. I had curry goat with rice and peas and, plantain chips and oxtail. And she's like, white tourists don't normally order this. I said, well, I'm not your normal tourist. But, the celebrity thing, that's always been a highlight for me.
Yeah. There's definitely a bonus to doing it and to doing this, and that's it. That's it exactly. No matter what, and it means a lot to me. So, like I said, if you see me and you recognize me, say hi, man. Say hi. I'd love to talk. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I tell you one thing, Captain Mikey, he's been retired now. From what I've learned from all of our social media friends in the circle, that it's now the Trip Show. It's no more Captain Mikey. He don't count anymore. 100%. And I understand that because my boys, when they're there, I don't exist anymore either. So I'm there with you. We're gonna be in the Dads Over There club soon, Mike.
Yeah, well, it's already happened for me. Trip is the most popular person out there. It is nothing to do with me whatsoever anymore. Boy has no idea how lucky he's got it. He really doesn't. Some of the biggest, they don't say hi to me at all. Camera.
When you don't exist anymore.
Yep.
No.
Especially when you're in a family-friendly business like we are. Fishing in the world of fishing is wholeheartedly, the industry is a family. Like everybody, it's like living in a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and if you fart, somebody knows about it. And that's great because that keeps the family values in there. And when I see, Trip in the bass boat, and I see Trip with this celebrity, I'm not gonna throw names because we don't need to do that. But I mean, big celebrities hanging out with Trip, and even little video clips of no, it's not about me. It's a Trip show now. That's it's awesome. It really is. And even see him backstage before the show, I got to say hi to him and the wife. He's getting big, man. He's getting big. They grow quick.
Yeah, real quick. And he's got quite a personality. Character of his own out there. So I'm sure I'll be completely obsolete. It'll all be about him. It'll be him. He'll take over everything.
For sure, dude. For sure. And that's what makes that's what makes Major Bass that much better. That's what makes it that much better. You're about the family. Future. Exactly. And like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, this whole entire channel, this YouTube dream, or this what I'm trying to accomplish is hopefully going to be to give something to my kids that's mine when I leave this earth. Because right now, I ain't got nothing to give them but a hope and a prayer and God bless you. But this is something that my children know they've been on, they believe in. They advertise. My son takes business cards to school and passes them out in class. That's the kind and I get kids end up calling me, hi, is Brandon there? Is this Infantry Outdoors? But that's what it's about, the family.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I do everything every day. It doesn't matter. It's all about him and his future. So that's just it. But on that note, it's getting late. I got to get up at 4:30. Got to get on the road, get to work, and start filming these guys. They take off real early. That's the downside to this job.
Now, can you give us an update of what's coming up tomorrow or this weekend?
Yeah. So we're here in Dayton, Tennessee right now. This is the 4th stop of the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. So the top 80 anglers of Bass Pro Tour are out here fishing right now. Today was the first day. They split them up into 2 groups of 40. So there's 80. So Group A and Group B. Group A fished yesterday, and which was today. Group A fish today, Friday, and Sunday. And Group B will fish Saturday and Monday. And the top 20 of each of those groups will advance to the knockout round. That'll be on Tuesday. And the knockout round after that, 20 anglers will be down to 10. And that'll be the championship day will be on Wednesday out here. So really exciting. If you guys haven't been watching Bass Pro Tour, it is insane. It is the action is just nonstop right to the very get-go. And it's all live. So you can watch it literally at majorleaguefishing.com. They have an app, the MLF app. You can literally watch these guys on the water all day long. The lines in are at 7 o'clock a.m. and lines out are at 3 p.m. and they fish right to the end. They get 2 breaks of 15 minutes, I think, in between. But you know, it's the format is really cool. It's every fish counts over 2 pounds, so they catch and release the fish. There's no big or anything like that. They have an official with them on the boat, and most of the time as well, so filming it all. But they will literally catch the fish, weigh it, and if it weighs more than 2 pounds, they immediately release it, and they add it up on what's called Score Tracker. So it's another way you can catch it. But the action is intense.
Yeah. Update.
Yeah, the action is absolutely intense.
Especially if you're the angler, because listen, guys, it ain't like, okay, we go out, me and Mike, we're fishing against each other. He gets 5 fish, I get 5 fish. We don't know what the hell's going on until we get back to the weigh-in. No. Right. The way that this works, if y'all never seen it, you have the guy behind you. Okay, Mikey Moser just caught another fish, 3 pounds, 6 ounces. He's now up to 14 pounds, 2 ounces. You need 4 more ounces to catch him. And it continues throughout the entire day. The guy's back there spitting facts at you that's making your brain spin. And it's not normal fishing, because if you're in that zone and, like we mentioned in the broadcast, you're having one of them days, it makes for a bad day. Am I right, Mike? I mean, it's different fishing because you got basically you're further catching up. You're something.
That's that whether they're on the top or the bottom of the score tracker, they're hearing what other people are doing. So you may be sitting in place right now with the most weight right now, and hey, you think, oh, I can start relaxing, I feel good. No, you're hearing every constant score tracker update, and you're hearing how fast those guys are catching them behind you. So you literally realize, oh man, I got to keep catching. So the pressure's on. But at the same time, if you're at the bottom of that list, you're hearing score tracker update, and how fast people are moving away from you, and how much you've got to keep up. But there's always a cut line too. So like I said, out through these qualifying rounds, they got the top 20 will advance. Well, if you're in 20th place and the guy in 19th catches one more fish, that pressure is intense, because if he catches a fish before you, he's going to knock you out. You're going to be in 21st place and not make it. So it's literally intense, and it happens. It happens all the time, almost every tournament, man. Right to the very last second. In fact, in Lake Travis down in Texas for stage 2, right to the very last second, Jacob Wheeler won by 2 ounces. 2 ounces. That was it.
Yeah. It's a game of ounces. Like, literally, you can be bumped out of getting a check, bumped out of the next day's competition by 1 ounce. I mean, it's amazing.
That 2 ounces cost, it was $100,000 for first place, and it was, I think, I don't know, 40,000, 45,000 or something for second place. So those cost like $55,000.
Wow.
All right, but I do got to call it a night. I know the family's sleeping. I'm in a trailer here, and I'm keeping them all awake here too. So
no worries. I don't want anybody to get mad. Anytime, bro. Anytime. And like you said, when you guys get done and you guys get home, I secretly promised your wife we go bow shooting, and then you and I got some fishing to do. So we'll get together after business is done. When things slow down. And I really hope to link up with you at ICAST. Just to get, like I say, just point me in the right direction, tell me go, just so I don't get lost and Amber feels safe about it. That's all it is.
No worries, man. We got you.
Well, you guys have an awesome time, dude. I'll watch, after it happens or while it's happening tomorrow, but enjoy yourself, like I always tell you, and enjoy the experiences. And you guys have a wonderful night. Trip, Amanda, you guys have a great night. Thank you for letting him be on with me, and we'll definitely talk again, bro.
All right, man. You take care.
Have a wonderful night. All right, guys. Captain Mikey from Major Bass. You guys, if you don't know him, well, you should know him. Everybody knows Captain Mikey. Swamp Donkey. Holy cow. I ain't seen you in a while, brother.
And Wildman 306.
How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. We were talking tonight with Major Bass, a.k.a. Captain Mikey Moser. basically giving you some pointers and tips on how to catch the biggins. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got a lot of information out of that. It's been a lot of fun. What I'm going to do here, I do have to really quick take care of the bills. And when we come back, well, I think we have something to give away, right, producer? Or
not really tonight.
Not really tonight. All right. Well, let me do the bills. We'll come back. We'll chit chat with you guys for a little bit more, and then we'll wrap things up here on Infantry Outdoors Live. By the way, we are broadcasting live on Facebook as well as YouTube tonight. What does this say? Congratulations. You've received 100 messages today. Hot dog. The right's trapping. How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you. So stick with me, guys. I'm coming right forward after this, and we're going to wrap things up and chit-chat a little bit more, but don't move. I got to pay these bills. Y'all know how we do here. But remember to do this before we go, all right? Tonight's Infantry Outdoors live stream is brought to you in part by Silver Connections Group, full digital marketing agency. Improve your social media standings. Boost your Google rankings. Get a website for yourself or your business. Contact them today at silverconnectionsmobile.com. Water purification products. Pure water at your fingertips. Fully licensed and insured. Products, service, and full installation. Shop today at waterpurificationproducts.com. My name is DJ Infantry, and I am legally blind. My passion for the outdoors has taken me to some amazing places, and I have done some incredible things, all with one mission in mind, to inspire you to get outdoors. Pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh. I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Welcome to Infantry Outdoors. That's right. If you're just tuning it in, we do this every Friday from 10 p.m. till the chat says when, and usually it runs about midnight or so. Big ups to my brother, The Right's Trapping. How you doing, bro? The answer to that is, I believe it's MLF Live. Let me see. Watch Major League Fishing live. And the survey says...
I know there's an app for it.
You can go to majorleaguefishing.com or you can download the MLF app. So there's your answer for that. Check it out. Live from Lake Chickamauga tomorrow. Big ups to my friend, Captain Mikey Moser. And if you guys haven't figured it out in the background tonight, there is Lake Chickamauga Reservoir. And it was my little way of being live on location with Captain Mikey tonight. It's always nice to be able to work with that man. Somebody I highly respect in the community and, you know, here on YouTube. So, guys, we didn't get any sharing of love tonight. So, next week we'll have to double up on the prizes, I guess, or something. But we're going to wrap things up for tonight. Anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns before we go, please do drop them in the chat. Remember to hit the thumbs up button. And if you are new and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Again, we do this every Friday night from 10 p.m. to you say when. And if you do have any comments, questions, or concerns, always feel free to write to us at infantry@infantryoutdoors.com. And don't forget to check out our website. Go to infantryoutdoors.com. We got a lot of great things on there. Upcoming events. We've got photo galleries. We've got merch. We've got all kinds of stuff for you guys. So please feel free to check it out. Also, we're always looking for guests, whether to collab with in a video or to have on the live stream. So if you're a person who is a professional in your industry, or maybe you are a disabled person that loves the outdoors like myself, well, reach out to us. Again, it's infantry@infantryoutdoors.com. We would love to have you and schedule it as a guest. So keep that in mind for the future, guys. But I think that's about all we got for tonight. What a night it's been. Thanks to Captain Mikey Moser. Check out Major Bass. Check out Sawgrass SMS. That is their business as well. It's always a pleasure to have him here. And again, if anybody wants to be a guest, write to us, get a hold of us. Next week, we're going to have my friend veteran Bill Watts up here. So it's going to be a night with the veterans. I think that's what we have scheduled for next week. I'm not entirely sure. But either way, guys, reach out to me because we're always looking for stuff to do. And if you guys have anything that you'd like to see, drop it in the comments below or write to us again. So with that said, I think that's about it, Miss Producer. Anything from your side?
No, Coyote just shared you out. But
Coyote, I love you, bro. I love you. I love you.
Should have gotten his hash browns by now.
Oh yeah, Coyote, did you get your package yet? Did it reach you?
Today or tomorrow, if not today. But he should have gotten.
Yeah, you should have gotten it by now.
Well, it said Friday when we shipped it out. So
I'm
maybe
curious
we got
to know.
it, if not tomorrow, hopefully.
Wow,
I haven't
man,
tracked
307,
it
thank you
for
so much for being in. You have an amazing night. I hope you're here next weekend or next Friday. And again, guys, if you yourself want to be a guest, get a hold of me and we'll do a night where we hang out, we chit chat, and talk about whatever topics you want to cover. We can do anything as long as it's outdoors related. So the race trapping, yes, I got it. Awesome, bro. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, with that said, guys, that's going to do it for tonight's live. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time. And as always, I hope that this and all of my adventures here inspire you to get outdoors. So until we meet again, on behalf of myself and the producer, we're going to get up, we're going to get out, we're going to make way, and we're going to have a good old go to sleep because it's 12 o'clock at night. Anyways, have an amazing night, everybody. And don't forget, on your way out, please do this.